Welcome to Mountain Bears. Of course, I'm Aeson Knight, lead bear, mean asshole, and we got Techy Joe, aka Cup
Hello.
Forever. All right, I'm gonna pop off here and fix something.
Oh, no. Okay. Alrighty. Well, he should be back in just a few minutes. And, yeah. Alrighty. So, yeah. Oh, I see what it is. Got you now.
Welcome back.
Yes, you had to curtain.
Yeah, I had to put off the space. Anyhow,
Yes.
so do you want to take on my main beef today?
You know what? Let's go with it.
Starbucks, settle your damn ass down. We don't want any of your pumpkin spice yet. Bring back the refreshers.
Oh, yeah. So pumpkin spice latte season is here. Here's what dietitians say about fall's favorite drink. Do you sense the autumn vibes in the air? Starbucks just announced that the pumpkin spice latte is making its grand return on Thursday. So that should have been yesterday. Marking what many people consider to be the unofficial beginning of fall. For the record, actual fall doesn't begin until the equinox on September 22nd, a full month away. If you're planning to sip this drink all season long, however, you may want to read up on the health implications of your pumpkin spice latte. Here's what you need to know about this iconic coffee drink. Why is the pumpkin spice latte still a thing? First, a history lesson. The pumpkin spice latte, aka the PSL, was created by Starbucks in 2003 as a way to build on the success of their first seasonal beverage, the peppermint mocha. The drink, featuring a pumpkin pie spice sauce made with pumpkin puree and mixed in with espresso and steamed milk, then topped with whipped cream and pumpkin spices, including cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and ginger, offers a taste that's reminiscent of a pumpkin pie that felt just right for fall. Whether you love the drink and all of its warm, cozy fall associations or roll your eyes at the trend, the coffee beverage has cemented its place in the cultural conversation. That's thanks in part to social media, where selfies of PSL fans clutching their seasonal sips have become an autonomous mainstay. Starbucks even gave the PSL its very own Twitter handle in 2014 as a fun way to play into the hype. In the wake of the PSL's popularity came an explosion of pumpkin spice everything. From Oreos to body scrub, few offshoots, however, have enjoyed the same level of enduring success. There's even science to back up the passion. A 2021 study conducted by Johns Hopkins University researchers found that the spices in the PSL are associated with feelings of nostalgia. However, it may not be nostalgia alone that has people ordering the drink seasonally. Licensed therapist David Clow, founder of Skylight Counseling Center in Chicago and author of You Are Not Crazy, Letters from Your Therapist, previously told Yahoo Life that while humans are hardwired to seek out something that's new, we also long to create a sense of routine in our lives. So when something like the PSL combines these two things by coming around just once a year, it merges these two drives within us and has us zooming through the Starbucks drive-thru. But is a pumpkin spice latte good for you? So is this fall staple a good idea to add to your diet all season long? Registered dietitian Sherry Gall tells Yahoo Life that the spices used to give PSL its iconic flavor have a number of benefits. According to a 2019 review, cloves and cinnamon are excellent sources of antioxidants. With frequent consumption, they are linked to a lower risk of death from cancer, respiratory disease, and ischemic heart disease, Gall says. Plus, she notes, research shows that ginger and nutmeg are also associated with benefits, including protection against cancer, diabetes, obesity, and microbial infections. Here's the downside. Along with all those good-for-you spices comes a lot of sugar, saturated fat, and calories, says Gall. This may contribute to a blood sugar spike or elevated cholesterol numbers for some people. A 16-ounce pumpkin spice latte, a grande from Starbucks, has 50 grams of sugar, 390 calories, and 14 grams of fat, 9 grams of which are saturated. While the beverage does come with 14 grams of protein, In general, that's more than what most of us should consume in one sweet treat, especially when there's no fiber to speak of in a PSL. According to the American Heart Association, women should have no more than 25 grams of added sugar per day, while men should limit their intake to 36 grams of added sugar per day. The AHA also recommends that fat should make up 25 to 35% of your daily calories, which is about 56 to 78 grams for a 2,000 calorie diet. Saturated fat should be limited to less than 7% of your daily calories, or around 13 grams per day. It's also important to note that since it is an espresso-based drink, one grande PSL clocks in at 150 milligrams of caffeine. This may be an issue for people who don't tend to consume coffee during the rest of the year because they're more likely to experience negative side effects from caffeine, such as disturbed sleep or elevated heart rate or blood pressure. More seasoned coffee drinkers should also bear in mind that per the Food and Drug Administration, people should limit their caffeine consumption to 400 milligrams a day.
I don't know
More than 2 PSLs in a single day would tip you over that. All right, dietitian Brittany Werner, director of coaching at Working Against Gravity, tells Yahoo Life that a PSL can fit into most nutrition plans as is, but given the low nutritional value, total calories, and added sugar, it's clear that PSL is genuinely a dessert. That's why she recommends we treat PSLs as a special indulgence and not something that should be consumed frequently in order to stay on track with a healthy diet. If you just can't resist a PSL fix, consider asking your Starbucks barista for a substitution. Choosing different types of milk like skim still offers protein and lessens the calories and fat. Then asking for half the amount of syrup as a start could be another way to lighten up the drink but still provide the PSL you desire, suggests dietitian Chris Moore, fitness and nutrition advisor at Fortune Recommends Health.
Again, I think they're too damn early.
You know, they're a little early, but it's not great. Okay, nutritionally, it's not great. I want to know how bad that peppermint mocha is, because there's no way.
Well, again, why are you polluting my mocha, first of all? Second of all, they can take their caffeine statistic and stick it up where the sun don't shine.
Oh.
It already ruined my day off. So anyhow.
I know, right? So yeah, but no. Well, thank you, Yahoo Life, for that article. I don't know. I never got into the pumpkin spice latte. Like, I'll drink one.
I've tried it once. I threw up afterwards and decided never to have that torturous device again. It's like everything else. I do not care for it.
I don't dislike it. I just don't have an addiction to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have that strong compulsion craving. I'm like, it's not bad.
I can think of worse things like raspberry coffee, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few things.
Like,
but no, I mean, it's just, it's not like my greatest favorite. Like, I can have one every once in a while, but it doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
Oh, Shannon points out if you look at the ingredients, one can make the argument it's an abundance potion.
Agreed. And then it should be made into a candle, stuck into a lamp, not down my gullet.
Well, there's that.
I don't eat money.
I mean, I don't control you. You can order your PSL, take it home, put it in a pot, and burn it.
True. That would be an equal sacrifice to all the fall gods. I'll give you that one.
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't control your life.
I know. But,
y'all do you. You need an abundance offering.
Remember that?
I'm just saying, if you need an abundance offering, what, $8-9 at Starbucks?
Yeah, you'll do better with a candle, but go for it. Go for it. Take the Mariani pumpkin spice latte. She'll ask you if you want Uggs.
Oh. Oh, so Shannon says I'd put cinnamon and clove in with my chocolate if I was making Mexican hot chocolate. I don't care for coffee or pumpkin. Fair enough. I dearly love pumpkin.
I love
Like
real.
I find it weird that I don't love the pumpkin spice latte.
Because I don't think it's got real pumpkin in it anymore.
No, they're supposedly still doing the pumpkin. I think we would have noticed.
Mm-hmm. All right. But anyway, I saw that story when we were looking through the news, and I'm like, we've got to talk about this because I am tired of my seasons being messed up. It is not fall until September 21st. Back the clock up, you companies. Get with the real calendar. Don't be rushing my weather. Don't be rushing my, seeing people wearing. I saw people wearing Uggs today, and I'm like, have you lost your mullet?
Yeah. Oh. So, yeah, Shannon was saying, nah, you can take some pumpkin puree mix and add some pie spice. Tastes better than Starbucks.
Yes.
I'm sure it does. And I think you can take some pumpkin puree and add some pie spice and a couple of eggs and beat it together and pour it into a pie shell and bake it.
Or leave the shell out of it.
Hey, I like my shell.
Grace.
All right, so Aeson's going to bring down the wrath of basic white bitches who demand PSLs year-round on him talking like that.
Yeah, you know where to send the emails to.
I mean, if we get snow early, though, they'll never make it through the front yard in the Uggs.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just saying, our front yard now retains water. Like, it's mowed.
Yeah.
It's a very slim mode. Like, it's very shallow.
Yeah.
But it's a mode.
Like, I can't put piranhas in it. He's already told me I can't.
Yeah, your Uggs are going to get soaked.
Right.
Oh. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Kalika wants me to make a pumpkin spice cheesecake, and I'm like, you can make one.
Yeah. You're old enough to mix ingredients and read a mixing thing. You're old enough to cook. All right. So it's been a full follow me of news of West Virginia. So the show will be most of it because we've got the jackass for a governor.
Oh, which one do you want to start with first?
Well, let's start with how he can't pay bills. Actually, no, let's go statewide first. Let's talk about where, since we are a tourism state, wild and wonderful West Virginia, where are we hitting that ranking for fun?
Well, 50. West Virginia ranks last in most fun states to visit in 2024, says West Virginia News. So a recent study by Wallet Hub has ranked West Virginia as the least fun state to visit in America for 2024. The ranking, which evaluates all 50 states based on entertainment, recreation, and nightlife options, places West Virginia at the bottom of the list with a total score of 17.01. So, key findings, entertainment and recreation. West Virginia struggled in this category, which measures factors like the number of attractions, variety of arts and entertainment venues, and access to national parks. The state ranked particularly low in the availability of performing arts theaters, fitness centers, and other recreational facilities. Nightlife. West Virginia also ranked poorly in nightlife options, which include the availability of bars, music festivals, and casinos. The state's limited options in these areas contributed to its low overall score. Comparison to other states, Florida and California top the list as the most fun states, offering a wide variety of entertainment, recreation, and nightlife. West Virginia's neighboring states like Pennsylvania and Ohio ranked significantly higher, placing 13th and 15th, respectively. Specific areas of concern: the study highlighted West Virginia's lack of variety in arts, entertainment, and recreational establishments, as well as low personal spending on recreation services. These factors contributed to the state's position at the bottom of the rankings. Despite these findings, West Virginia offers unique natural beauty and outdoor activities which attract visitors looking for scenic experiences. However, the state's lower ranking indicates a need for further development in entertainment and nightlife options to boost its appeal to a broader range of tourists. As the state continues to focus on economic development, improving these areas could help West Virginia climb the ranks in future assessments of fun and tourism potential.
Right.
Uh-huh. We could also just not roll up the sidewalks at 6. I'm just saying.
Right.
Like, leave some shit open.
Well, not only that, but try not to keep closing everything that comes around. They've tried to close every damn bar around. They've tried to close every casino. They've restricted them to the level of ridiculousness. We have one casino in this state, and it's under more regulations than our legislator.
Fair enough. Well, 2. Well, technically. The Greenbrier has a casino.
Yeah, it was up for auction.
Well, that's a whole different story. But then there's also the isn't there a Harrah's? Sorry, I had a coworker who dearly loved going, and I thought there was a Harrah's casino in West Virginia.
There is, and it's not Harris. It's Bet GMC Casino welcomes you. Sorry. Official casino list in West Virginia. Come on, what is it downtown? Oh, this is just online. The Mardi Gras Casino and Resort, the Greenbrier, the Mountaineer Casino and Resort in New Cumberland, West Virginia. So there's 3.
There's 3. Okay. I thought there was a Harrah's. She kept going on and on about having to take the Blue Ridge Parkway and just how pretty it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they just took the Blue Ridge Parkway every time they came up, and she just loved the Blue Ridge Parkway. And this only thing the woman knew about West Virginia was the casino and the Blue Ridge Parkway, and that literally every time she saw me, she had to talk about it. I mean, very sweet woman, but limited interests. Oh, there's one in Wheeling too, says Shannon.
Yeah, that was the Mountaineer. It isn't a Harris.
Something tells me something got bought out or shut down.
I think that she mixed up West Virginia with Western Virginia.
Oh, she may have.
You know, the common problem is there was this little war, small little Scrabble. We got carved into a whole new state. Most of America didn't even pay attention to it, didn't make front page news for 7 years. Anyhow.
Hey, at least we don't write checks anymore. This is the worst part about moving to North Carolina. If you were going to do that back in the early 2000s, the first thing to suggest to someone was get your North Carolina driver's license immediately.
Yep.
Because trying to explain the difference between West Virginia and Virginia became the bane of my existence.
Mm-hmm.
Because everywhere I tried to write a check, would type in VA and my driver's license number, and that would kick out as invalid. Because West Virginia actually uses a driver's license number that's a unique identifier, and Virginia uses a 9-digit social or 10-digit whatever social security number. 9-digit. Why did I have to rethink that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do the math. 3, 2, 4.
Right.
So yeah, no. At least we don't write checks anymore, because it was enough to drive me insane. But no, it's not just about casinos. Like, Nightlife? What nightlife? We've literally talked about a nightlife, and that involves a drive to Columbus.
Yeah.
Or DC, or Pittsburgh, or like might as well go to Greensboro.
Yeah. I'd rather go to Greensboro. Or better up, let's just go on like down to Norfolk. That way I can hit the beach in the morning, and then we can, after we sober up, I can hit the beach before we drive back.
After you sober up.
Huh?
After you sober up.
Yeah, after I sober up. I can sober up on the beach, enjoying some hot sand, get my feet in the water that is called an ocean, that is not like a pain in my ass.
Yes. So, but no, I mean, we're missing a lot of opportunities in West Virginia. I find it ridiculous. We keep trying to claim we're a tourist state when we have nothing for tourists.
Right.
Like, yes, the national parks are beautiful. Yes, all the outdoor recreational opportunities are great. That alone does not comprise an entire, like, vacation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we more.
Well, not only that, but every time, anything that is even possibly close to this experience, to bring people into the state, to bring different people into the state, they try to close down every legislative session.
Mm-hmm. Like, we have fought very hard against the very businesses that would make this a tourist state.
Right.
Like, and it's ridiculous to me. Like, it's what you said you were going to do. It was the divestment.
Correction.
Well, the divestment of having all your eggs in the coal basket.
Right.
Was you're going to make this a retirement and tourism state.
Right.
You've bought everything you can on tourism.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have loaded the state with nursing homes and protections for nursing homes. And God knows, ensuring that the nursing home workers will never like have a reasonable caseload and or decent pay. So I don't know how much you want your relatives retiring here. Just an FYI.
Yeah.
Like we nursing care in West Virginia is super expensive.
Right.
Because there are so many nursing homes and they are so full.
Right.
And then the staff for them, like, I think they give them more training, care, concern, and compassion at McDonald's.
Care and concern at McDonald's. Training, I have to debate you on.
Well, I mean, in terms of they will hire about anyone.
Right.
Like, as long as you get the minimal degree, the minimal certification.
As long as you get the certification, as long as you can lift and move a body.
Do they really care?
Yes. Otherwise, I'd still be on the floor.
Okay. But yeah, other than that, I don't think they're caring about much else.
No.
Like, and I'm sorry, I don't know about the rest of y'all and what you're hearing, but all I keep hearing is one nurse after another who got fired for stealing patient meds.
Got fired for stealing patient meds, got injured and ended a career because of low staffing, you know. So everyone knows on my days off, I hike, I swim. That's my day off. That's my recharge. Driving down there, driving to where I hike at, I have to pass one of my old nursing homes. And every day this summer, they have a sign that looks like a yard sale sign. Not one of the nice ones you go and buy, but one that someone makes up. And its poster says, now hiring, now apply inside. This sign has been replaced probably 20 times, but it's always there because it can't fill the wards. They can't fill staff. So that means that staff is still working at 12 to 16-hour days, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I work less now as a psychic, even when I'm in bear mode, which I've activated bear mode, than I did as a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
I make a significant more, but still.
Yeah. Well, that's not hard to do compared to nursing in West Virginia.
I know.
Which is sad. I think the only people paid less than nurses are teachers. At this point.
At this point, I would agree. But, we pay legislational people, like governors, a lot of damn money. And they apparently can't pay their bills.
No, he cannot. This has been a recurring issue. And it's kind of all coming to a head this week. So I'm going to go a little out of order and kind of do the build-up in the way I think it goes from bad to worse to god-awful.
Right.
All right. So justice-owned coal companies negotiate over $500,000 owed in Virginia, says WOWK Charleston. So Tazewell, Virginia, companies owned by West Virginia Governor Jim Justice continue to fight financial and legal battles. This time it involves Tazewell County, Virginia. The Tazewell County Treasurer, David Larimer, confirmed to Nexstar's WVNS that coal companies owned by Governor Justice owe $572,692 in real estate, personal property, and mineral taxes. These fees are from 2018 to 2024. Larimer stated that payments have been made in regards to what was owed, and negotiations into resolving the issue have been going on for the greater part of the last year between the Tazewell County Board of Supervisors and the companies owned by Justice. As part of the negotiations, Larimer said, was the potential for property to be taken from Justice to aid in creating ATV trails in the northern part of the county. Negotiations remain active. So that's $572,692.
Okay.
Then we move over to the Associated Press, which lets us know that family of West Virginia governor running for Senate has deal to avoid Greenbrier Hotel foreclosure. The family of West Virginia Governor Jim Justice has reached an agreement with a credit collection company to avoid the foreclosure of their historic hotel as he runs for U.S. Senate, the resort announced Thursday. The Republican governor's family has been set to appear in court Friday to ask a judge to halt the auction of the Greenbrier Resorts Hotel, which had been scheduled for Tuesday. That hearing has been canceled. It's taken care of and we move forward, and the Greenbrier is as whole as it can possibly be, Justice said in a news briefing. The Greenbrier is going to be in our family forevermore. The 710-room hotel has hosted U.S. presidents, royalty, and congressional retreats. The resort held a PGA Tour golf tournament from 2010 until 2019 and has welcomed NFL teams for training camp and practices. A once-secret 112,000 square foot underground bunker built for Congress at the Greenbrier in case of nuclear attack during the Cold War now hosts tours. The hotel came under threat of auction after JP Morgan Chase sold a long-standing loan taken out by the governor to a credit collection company, McCormick 101, a subsidiary of Beltway Capital, which declared it to be in default. In a statement, the Justice family said it had reached an agreement with Beltway Capital to receive a specific amount to be paid in full by October 24th, 2024. The family said it had already secured the money, although the justices did not specify the amount. Beltway reserves its rights if the Justice family fails to perform, the statement reads. A message left with Beltway Capital wasn't immediately returned Thursday. Justice defended his family's business practices at Thursday's briefing and repeated past claims that JP Morgan Chase's sale of the Greenbrier loan was a politically motivated effort to hurt his U.S. Senate campaign. We had a 14-year working relationship with JP Morgan, and then shortly after the primary, where I was the winner, Hands down, you're going to the U.S. Senate, no matter what anybody says under the sun. It made total no sense other than political. It made no sense at all, he said. Justice said that his family had made payments on the JP Morgan loan as recently as June, and that it was notified the loan had been sold in July without prior warning. JP Morgan Chase did not respond to an email seeking comment. If the hotel had been sold, Justice said, there would have been carnage and devastation like you can't imagine to the great people of the Greenbrier, referring to jobs that could have been lost. The auction, which has been set to occur at a courthouse Tuesday in the small city of Lewisburg, involves 60.5 acres, including the hotel and parking lot. Justice family attorneys filed a motion this week for a preliminary injunction to try to halt the auction of the Greenbrier. They claimed that a 2014 deed of trust approved by the governor was defective because JP Morgan didn't obtain consent from the Greenbrier Hotel Corp's directors or owners, and that auctioning the property violates the company's obligation to act in good faith and deal fairly with the corporation. They also argued in part that the auction would harm the economy and threaten hundreds of jobs. About 400 employees at the Greenbrier Hotel received notice this week from an attorney. We're going to stop there because there's even more. All right, so that's item 2. This is all this week, guys. This is all this week. This is what our governor's been doing. How do you have time for the state of West Virginia with this much shit going on? Because then, so 572,000 plus another, let's see, what was that? Oh, it was undisclosed, but the loan was quite large.
Yeah. I'm saying 2.2 million to 3.4 million. Hold it. It's easy. Go see what the
Oh, yes. So the Greenbrier Sporting Club, also this year, not this week, the Greenbrier Sporting Club, a private luxury community with a members-only resort within a resort, that property was scheduled to be auctioned off this year in an attempt by Carter Bank and Trust of Martinsville, Virginia, to recover more than $300 million in business loans defaulted by the governor's family, but a court battle delayed that process. So 500,000, 300 million. So 300 million, 500 and whatever thousand. And then
I'll tell you exactly what that loan's amount was. $11.9 billion.
I'm sorry, what?
$11.9 billion.
11.9 B with a billion?
Billion.
Jesus. You know, just cough up some money.
Right.
All right. So then we go over to Newsday. Union rep says West Virginia governor late on paying worker health insurance bills despite denials. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice's family is millions of dollars behind on payments to employees' health insurance fund at their financially beleaguered hotel, putting workers' coverage at risk despite the U.S. Senate candidate's claims otherwise, a union official said Friday. The delinquencies are factual, tangible, and documented, Peter Bostic, chairperson of the Council of Labor Unions at the Greenbrier, the historic resort owned by the Justice's family. Justice on Thursday dismissed concerns about at least $2.4 million in delinquent payments to insurance provider during a briefing with press, saying payments had been made, quote, on a regular basis, and that there was, quote, no way employees would lose coverage. But on Friday, Bostic said the situation is in no way resolved. Quote, we continue to demand that the Greenbrier's delinquent contractual obligations be met and remain hopeful that an agreement will be reached between the ANHF and the Greenbrier to continue benefits into the future, he said in the statement. Justice's remarks came the same day the Republicans' family announced it had reached an agreement with a credit collection company to prevent the Greenbrier Hotel, which has hosted President.
So the hosted president's royalties, the congressional retreat, stopped the foreclosure. We covered that. Baltic said Friday.
Yeah, the Greenbrier was scheduled to go on the auction block August 27th after Beltway Capital declared a longstanding Justice Hotel loan to be in default after purchasing it in July from David Chase. Bostic said on Friday that in light of the auction being canceled, the Amalgamated National Health Fund had agreed to continue offering union employees at the Greenbrier health insurance until the end of the month. It's the 23rd, y'all. There's only 31 days in this month. 8 days. 8 days. Until the end of the month, while they work to come to an agreement with the justices. 8 days. Earlier this week, as the auction date approached, about 400 employees of the Greenbrier Hotel received notice from an attorney for the healthcare provider, Amalgamated National Health Fund, saying they would lose on the day of the auction unless the Justice family paid $2.4 million in missing contributions. The Justice family hasn't contributed to Employees Health Fund in 4 months, and that an additional $1.2 million in contributions will soon be due, according to the letter the board received from Ronald Richmond, an attorney with Schultz, Roth, and Zabel, LLP, the firm representing the fund. The letter also said some contributions were taken out of the employees' paychecks, but never transferred to the fund concerning union officials. Justice told reporters at a news briefing on Thursday that insurance payments were made and were being made on a regular basis. There is no way that the great union employees at the Greenbrier are going to go without insurance, he said. There is no possible way. Justice began serving the first of his 2 terms as governor in 2017 after buying the Greenbrier out of bankruptcy in 2009. The 710-room, blah, blah, blah. We all know this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the Republican said that when he purchased the Greenbrier, employee benefits had been stripped to the bone, and he restored them. He said if the hotel had been foreclosed on, there would have been carnage and devastation, blah, blah, blah. We've already heard this in the last 3 stories.
The same skit he keeps touting, but he isn't paying the bills.
Yeah. Like, this is a lot of money, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, and this is a long week.
It should have been a long week. I wonder how much governing duty he done this week. If he was busy negotiating this, negotiating that, squirming out of paying this bill and that bill and the next bill.
Yeah, and then there's some earlier stories, and I don't know if this holds true, but there were earlier stories about the loan that got sold.
Yeah.
In which the board didn't, and that was in that one, that not only did the board not know that the hotel was used as collateral for the loan, but they also didn't approve it. But then that starts to bring into question, if the board doesn't know what he's doing, are they just a paper board while he still has total control of assets? Because that's what's not supposed to be happening.
Right.
Is our governor supposed to be our governor, not beleaguered Jim Justice who can't pay his bills.
Right.
Like, but it sounds like he is very heavily involved.
Yeah. Sounds like he's very heavily not allowing his assets to be ran by the board, which is what it was supposed to be done while he was governor. He's taking out loans against assets that him and his family do not currently own because they're under a board of directors.
Right. So, I mean, fundamentally, though, I mean, this sounds like one great big giant money shuffle. Like, he's taking loans and securing funds to pay off other loans and debts that should have already been paid, at least in part, by employee contributions.
Right.
And it's just like, and then like, screw the taxes. And it's like, wait a minute. So you're governor of one state and you owe another state $500,000 in taxes.
Right.
Like, it doesn't sound like it's going well.
Right.
Like, it really doesn't sound like it's going
well.
No. And these are some very big amounts of money. Like, I'm not saying the hotel isn't worth a pretty penny. I'm not saying that it isn't a lovely hotel. I've been there. It is. Like, there's no denying it. It's a very pretty place. It is very nice.
Right.
But this is a lot of tangled webs of money.
Right.
And I guess coincidentally, like your employee benefits were basically going to end on the same day the hotel was going to be auctioned.
Right.
Like, that strains some credulity.
Right.
Like, that sounds a little more planned. Like, if this ship goes down, I ain't paying for fucking insurance.
Exactly. It sounds like this was all planned. Like, he didn't even pay the power bill.
I mean, but that's basically been his, like, whole time as governor and before. Is this kind of long-standing, like, I owe too much money and am too big a name for you to come after me. I dare you. And it sounds like people are starting to call his bluff. JP Morgan Chase, outdated, whatever the long-ass name of an insurance company no one cares about. Other than the fact that our governor is. And they provide benefits to the union employees of the Greenbrier. But outside of that, like, have you ever heard of that one? Like, I've never heard of that one. That sounds like after you go way down a list of insurance providers.
Well, no, that is a union provider. I've heard of them, but they're not that good, and they're basically employee contribution based.
Oh, well, yeah, it sounds like based on the numbers, this is about a 50-50. Like, I don't want to make, assumptions, but I'm going to assume it's probably not great.
Right.
Like, I don't know how bad it had to be before for justice to describe it as employee benefits had been stripped to the bone.
Well, see, that's where I'm looking at this and going, bullshit, because it's a union hotel. The union would not have allowed them to be stripped. Now, may there have been, and Higgin calls, oh, I bought it, so no, dude, no. We work and live in unions. You're an idiot. You're another coal boss that this fucking state needs to get away from. We have seen this over and over and over, and I personally would love to see an accounting for every government dollar spent during the justice time period in office. I will guarantee you that he has pocketed as much as he could of it. And how he thinks he's running for Senate scares the living shit out of me.
Well, I mean, there's a potential as a U.S. senator for the state of West Virginia. He may actually line his pockets less than as governor of West Virginia or any other position he could have in the state of West Virginia.
Right.
Because I doubt the federal government is really going to have a high number of demands for a hotel in the state of West Virginia. Now, the state of West Virginia and the state government of West Virginia, multiple demands for a nice place to hold various functions.
Well, I get that, but at the same time, that just makes him more open for more bribes, which is now legal, by the way. Did you know that?
Oh, we made bribery legal again?
Yes, as long as you don't pay them till after they do it. for their actual
okay.
good faith.
So it's I'm sorry, run that sentence again so I make sure I followed all of the key moving parts.
It is now legal to bribe an elected official as long as you do not pay them until after they take their vote on the specific issue.
Okay, so you can dangle a carrot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do we have elected officials that are going to play like dumb sex worker game?
Yeah.
Like, because rule 1 of sex work is get your money up front.
Right.
Like, you don't get it after. Like, once you do the thing, most people don't pay.
Right.
I'm just saying. That's the rules as I understand them.
Right.
But, yeah. All right. Well, that's. I mean, as long as we're keeping, bribery alive.
Yeah.
With dangle a carrot, see if you can make them jump, and then if they jump, see if they get paid.
Right.
I wonder if you can contractualize it.
Mm-hmm. But no, this was the Supreme Court ruling. Make sure I'm reading it right, because I read it and went, "What the fuck?"
Oh, there it comes. The court held that Section 666 narrowly criminalizes bribes made or agreed upon before an official act, but not rewards or gratuities given after the fact. Okay, so that's not quite what you said. So basically, if you dangle the carrot, that actually is illegal.
Right.
So, but you can turn around and a elected official can know that, if I pass this legislation that positively affects Walmart, for instance, I'm just using them randomly, but positively benefits this major corporation, it's okay if that major corporation turns around and writes me a big old check.
Well, only if it's for $9,999, not $1 more. If they can write you all of them, they can go, well, Jim, if you go ahead and pass this legislation that'll legalize 24-hour beers in West Virginia and open up the law to, allow strip clubs on Main Street, we will make sure to take care of you.
No, that's what this is actually holding. Is that would be an agreement. So you would be agreeing upon it. Now, I think you could probably get away with like major corporation says, that law would really negatively affect us and our ability to contribute to elected officials. And if that elected official infers that involves them, and they vote to block or approve based on whatever is the better outcome for the major corporation, then that major corporation, because they didn't offer a bribe, they just told them the state of the world, can turn around and write the big ass check.
Well, no, multiple big ass checks, because you can cash, a number of checks for $9,999.
And technically, no.
Yes, it doesn't set off alarms with the IRS to check your books.
Actually, there is this thing. When banks see multiple transactions just under the threshold, it actually does trigger a secondary system.
Right. To you.
No, to the bank, and if they alert the IRS of potential suspicious activity. While technically.
To you, but not to you, your third business, your fourth business, your wife, your grandkids' college fund. The banks won't see it as one transaction.
Well, that is fair. That is fair. Yeah, if you spread that money around, pay off some bills for people, do some things, then yes, it would potentially make it much harder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you pay for renovations to someone's house, if you pay for, which these have all been used as inducements, and they're supposed to be reported.
Mm-hmm.
Many are not.
Most of them are not.
Although many have gotten in trouble with ethics boards for it.
But they're still sitting there. There's still those mind bosses. They're still in office. Hello, we just talked about one for over an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually there's a lot of, I didn't know it was wrong, and I'll never do it again.
Uh-huh.
I'll never get caught doing
Exactly.
it again. I'm firing my accountant and hiring someone else.
Yes.
That's what that sentence means. That's what I've come to take it as. So, Okay, what did you find?
Well, it's a new segment. Remember, I wanted to add one more Reddit segment to the shows, and this one was Ask Abe Rose. However, it is traveling into your ATA, so, but we'll go ahead and take it first.
Okay, well, do we want to do the Windows warning?
Yes, let's do Windows warning, and then we'll talk about this.
All right, so latest Windows 11 update cripples PCs. Here's what to do if you're affected. This comes to us from PC World. This cumulative update for Windows 11 can slow down PCs so badly that they become unusable. Last week, Microsoft released the KB5041585 cumulative update for Windows that packed together a bunch of improvements and security patches along with fixing the BitLocker blue screen of death issue. But in what appears to be a trend this year, this Windows update comes with some serious side effects. According to ID blog Born City in German, patch KB5041585 can cause Windows 11 PCs to crawl to a halt due to skyrocketing CPU usage. And according to Windows latest, the patch can even fail to install altogether on some PCs. Complaints from affected users can be found across social media, such as in a Reddit thread, which the article links to. Windows latest quotes several affected users, including one that said, "This problem started as soon as the updates installed this morning. Any slightly heavy applications, such as Adobe Photoshop or Audition, or games like Diablo and World of Warcraft, keep crashing. And this is the only change this PC has experienced since last month's updates." Dialog box says XXX program is using too much memory and must shut down, even though Task Manager says I'm only using 18% and there's over 900 gigabytes free space on the drive. This has never been a problem until today. Windows latest continues that this update has led to high CPU usage, with some users reporting that their CPU is constantly at 100%, causing everything to run slowly and leading to frequent timeouts. As of right now, the only guaranteed way to resolve these issues is by going to Settings, Windows Update, Update History, and then scroll all the way down and select Uninstall Updates, then click Uninstall next to the item listing for the KB5041585 update. Alternatively, you might find some relief by disabling Control Flow Guard. You can do this, and there's a whole list of steps for that. Microsoft is rumored to be aware of the problem and working on a solution. However, the official support page for this patch still states Microsoft is not currently aware of any issues with this update.
Mm-hmm.
How frustrating.
Can I say bullshit?
It's been a year.
Well, it's been a year, but within the last 2 weeks, we've reset my recording computer, this one. We've reset my main computer, and My laptop, I haven't ran updates on for a while. Don't tell my husband; he'll get angry.
You know, at this point, I mean, but we are going to put that article link. I'm doing it now into the chat. And labeling it Windows 11 KB. Oh, what is it? Because of course we can't make these any shorter. 504 1585 update issues. All right, so that article is going out, or a link to it, to everyone right now. In case you're affected, you can click the link. There are some steps you can follow and hopefully get your machine back to functional.
Right. Or take the Aeson method of just reset the fucker.
Just nuke it. Which we have nuked 2 of your PCs in the last 3 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nuke them from the beginning and start over. Because the window update media has all this built into it with the adjusting factors. Because I'm telling you, it's a clash between multiple patches going in, and those patches really aren't patching anything. It's just bloating it.
Well, and sometimes updates aren't the way to go.
Right.
And sometimes you do have creeping problems, as in the update actually works in the right environment.
Right.
That right environment being with nothing else going on, nothing else installed. It's just base Windows. Here you go. Now add that.
Right.
And the most recent version before the update applies. And so it does become very useful to do exactly what we're talking about and do a system refresh.
Right. Well, because I think it was this one or my base computer had almost 120 gigs of Windows system files.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Windows is 120 gigs.
Windows itself is not. All the updates individually downloaded, one by 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 one, do add up. This has been a long-standing problem. It used to have at least 80 gigs free for a Windows installation.
Right.
That number has only grown.
Yeah.
Because over time, Windows doesn't eat up that much, but each of those subsequent updates really start to jam the system down, especially if you're not going through and doing the routine cleaning processes, which no one does.
No.
And the fact that Windows doesn't do any cleanup on its own, kind of a problem. But the Windows model has basically been to make you a peer-to-peer server for updates in recent years. Hence, the reason we are keeping those updates around is so you can serve them out to other systems that need updates.
Right. But what gets me and what makes me wonder is, when are we getting Windows 12? It's time.
I don't think we're going to get 12.
You know?
I don't think we're getting a 12. I'm kind of thinking there's probably going to be a Windows 2025. I think we're going to buck the whole numbering process again, and it'll probably be a Windows 2025.
That'll be interesting.
Either that, or they'll go entirely crazy and start doing Windows Mountain Lion and Windows, Epic Unix or whatever the hell it was. And do the naming much more like Linux releases and Mac releases.
Interesting. Looking at PC Magazine, they said the new Windows was going to be called Windows 11 24H2.
Technically.
Yeah, they're saying possibly looking at 2020 sunsetting 10, and in October 21, I mean, so they're looking at 2025 October by prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It is about that time.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we are. It's amazing it has gone this quickly.
Right.
But yeah, this is about time for the next release of Windows to be upcoming.
Yeah.
I think that's going to probably be released in October. They should be talking about it in like February, I think, March.
Mm-hmm.
I forget when Windows does their big giant announcements.
That's in October.
I was thinking it was. Yeah, this the next release won't. That's just the next release. Won't be Windows 12.
Right.
But I'd say they're going to do something else. But no, they usually they actually release it in October. I'm saying that they usually announce it, preview it in alpha. Usually earlier in the year. So anyway, I'm sure none of us will look forward to that because does anyone look forward to a new version of Windows?
I'm sick of a new version. Like, just give me the components I want. Like, let me build my own Windows. Because there's so much in Windows I don't use. I don't need your games. I don't need your bullshit. I don't need your overuse of my processor for security.
After all the bloatware of previous systems sold from manufacturers, I'm starting to appreciate the cleaner, but still with like, you should try this. I'm appreciating that a little more than all the bloatware that used to come with a new system.
Well, like I've got Game Bar I don't use. Just give me screen recording. Maps. Yeah. Why on a PC do I need map? Uninstall.
Actually, that has to do with Microsoft has this dying hold on the idea they're going to be a mobile provider again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly the Surface laptops is why that's there. And the Surface line.
Right.
Because they're still trying to hold on to the idea they're going to be mobile again. The dumbest idea they've held on to. Like,
I think the only tool over the past 2 to 4 years since we moved to 11 that I've actually used and enjoyed that wasn't something I brought with me was Snap. I love the Snap tool.
Snip?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Snip. Snip is actually Snip got introduced in 10, but still was kind of buried.
Right.
And then 11, they actually made it more prominent. Right. Because it's like the beefed up version of Screen Print.
Right. I can't wait till they take. No, Xbox, I don't want you to take over either. I don't need Xbox on my computer. Why is it required?
I know. They're trying so hard to cross sell.
Yeah.
The Microsoft Store, the Microsoft devices, the Microsoft gaming platform, all of it, like you're just supposed to lock in like Apple users frequently do.
The only way I'm locking in is they build me a better computer that I don't have to go and outsource. They link it to a phone that actually is standard and connects with satellites. And then, I don't know, let's take it a step further and we begin having to where I don't have to freaking adapt my computer to what I actually use it for.
Well, that's getting harder and harder to do. We've kind of hit the long tail of processor jumps.
Yeah.
Like we have hit the point in which we've reduced the microprocessor so small it's going to take an entire revolution in the physics of processor design to cram more shit onto a silicon wafer.
Right.
Which, granted, the supposed future of that is going to be
quantum computing.
Quantum state computing, yeah.
Yeah.
in which it's not a 1 or a 0, it can be a 2.
Or a 5.
So we move away from binary and get into other states
Right.
of potential storage. That in turn ups our ability to store more.
Exactly. All right. So let's move into ask the gay guy over 30.
All right. So let's see. Oh, all right. So ask gay bros over 30. Am I the asshole? Am I the gay bro over 30 asshole for telling my partner that his genetic material shouldn't be passed on? Ooh. We are no longer together. I fucking wonder why. But when we were, there was a period of time where we toyed with the idea of starting a family. So we were talking about surrogacy one night, and he said that hypothetically, if we were to do that, he would want to be the sperm donor. Then I said something to the effect that, well, this wouldn't be the sensible choice, as he has schizophrenia, and all of a sudden he got extremely upset. He was so upset he made me spend the rest of the night on the couch. I remember I was blindsided as I had no ill intent and was simply thinking practically. Plus, it was all hypotheticals. We would never have started a family, so I was baffled why he would be so upset over a figment of the imagination. The whole thing blew over within a day, but now that the relationship is over, he's been using that incident as proof that I've always been an antagonistic asshole to him. Was I in the wrong in this specific incident? Just looking for some honest, unbiased opinions.
Yes.
How did you think you were right?
Well, and that's what I don't get sometimes, is how some of these guys think they're right.
Like, I mean, in this one in particular, like, what the hell possessed you to think that sentence was going to land and not be dynamite?
Right.
Like, pull the pin on a grenade, dude. Just throw it. It would have been less problem.
Right.
Like, if that's really how you think about your partner, what you're fundamentally saying and what you fundamentally said is that they're genetically someone that should be weeded out of the population because their problems are so bad, no one should ever have to deal with them. Like, that's what you said. Like, that's what you said. Like, that's it's a lot. And I understand schizophrenia can be a lot.
Right. But at the same time, this choosing who's going to be the dad, I think it's total bullshit. Okay, if we're going surrogate, doctor, creation, put them both in the test tube. Stir it up.
See what happens.
See what happens.
Maybe
you never know the difference.
Well, there is that idea. There is that concept of not wanting to know who the dad is. Just let it work out how it works out. But now there is, when you start spending the kind of money you spend on surrogacy, and with the ability to genetically profile, one, I hate to say it, but truthfully, most surrogacy companies are potentially going to screen out any genetic offspring mutations that would lead you down the path of getting a child that has any major medical complication. Again, you're spending a shit ton of money on this. Right. Like, you're not doing it with a turkey baster in the back seat of a Ford Fairlane.
Right. But
or something like that.
I wouldn't want to know who the dad was, because we're all the dad.
Well, but fundamentally, there's going to be a lot of screening and profiling on the combined genetic material
Right.
to ensure that the child you get has the least complications possible. And then if you want,
Right.
you can go next steps and select out, specific features, specific, like we're getting more into the designer baby.
Right.
And again, because the costs are so high, like a lot of people spending the kind of money don't want
Right.
as horrible as it sounds, to get handed a less than perfect child, which I know sucks, but doesn't want to get handed a less than perfect child for that amount of money. Again, this isn't an accident in the backseat of a car where you got what you got, you rolled the dice, you did the thing did the thing, and now you have a baby.
Right.
Like, there was no real selection there. So if you're going to spend the money,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of parents are very, I kind of want to say pragmatic about it, like very callous about it, that they want to get a super kid. Like, this isn't a 40 and dinner at a drive-through and, parking in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And all the costs related to labor and delivery and housing and childcare and the doctor's appointments and all the things until that child is born, as well as then having the costs and expenses of raising a child. So parents aren't. I struggle with calling it rightfully, because I don't think this is where I think you start playing God a little bit, and I get it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, there's a layer of too far here. There's a layer of too far.
Right.
Like, I get it. Like, there's a pragmatic, practical, reasonable side of me that goes, well, I can kind of see it. But then there's another part of me that goes, like, oh, Jesus, what are you going to do? It's not a blender.
Right.
This is a child. Like, what happens if they're 16 and they come out, gay, or they come out straight, or they come out like a furry? Are you going to return it with a receipt?
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. Like, this dude's an idiot, but if we done it, I don't want to know crap. We're going to have a baby in 9 months. Let's celebrate it. I'll write you the damn check. But you ain't to tell us any of the details other than come pick it, we've gone to labor.
Yeah. Well, but there's also involvement along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But no, in general, like, there's a lot of things that we are already, even in like standard routine pregnancy that occurs in any which way nature lets that occur. There's a lot of things we are screening for and fundamentally screening out, like, and before Roe v. Wade became such an issue again, advising, parents to terminate.
Yeah.
On the basis that, like, this was a life-threatening medical condition.
Right.
But some of the things that have been labeled that,
mm-hmm.
and that parents are selecting to discontinue a pregnancy over, to abort, are not always, like, again, part of me starts to understand it, and then part of me argues heavily against it. Like, if you find out your child is going to be deaf, or has the markers for, being a dwarf, do you terminate?
No.
I mean, but then you get into the argument of, okay, so what if you find out this child's going to have Down syndrome?
No.
There's a lot of doctors that advise for it.
I know, and there's a lot of doctors that needs their ass chewed out and going, we have tried, example, we have tried for 12 years to have a child. We got a baby coming. I got to learn sign language. Great. I'll learn sign language. And yes, I know that was wrong. Sorry. Down syndrome, let's plan for it. I'm sorry. I know some lovely people with Down syndrome. I know some amazing people with Down syndrome that run businesses, operate their lives perfectly normal. They just can't drive. Not that they're not capable, they're just not allowed. That's the only thing that I know with the people that I know Down syndrome aren't allowed to do. Why? Because their parents said, okay, well, that's cute. Let's figure it out.
Well, but if you're looking at a potential risk, and again, you're spending a lot of money to do this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at a potential risk that you're not getting a child that's going to hit all the marks and go into like average adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being very careful not to call it normal. Average adulthood, at least, self-supporting, self-sustaining, generally, lives to 80, dies comfortably, as a theory. A lot of parents really struggle with the idea that if that's not what I'm getting, then why am I spending all this money?
All right, so the average cost of a wedding is around $33,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what are we comparing?
Okay, the average cost of a child without insurance is 188. Oh hell, $18,865. Yeah, it's about the same average.
I'm still confused. What are we looking at?
We're looking at how much does it cost to buy a beard versus how much does it cost to have a child, to have a surrogate.
Okay.
Okay. Then we look at
again, not that we would ever condone misleading a partner into a marriage simply to get a resulting child.
right, but if you're going to be so damn picky, okay, the average cost of foster care to adopt a foster care child is $2,600. If you're going to be so picky about your child, go and adopt one. There's tons of them.
No, I can agree on that if you really want to make your choices, and in general, bringing another child into the world where there are already children without homes, I can follow that. But for a lot of parents, for a lot of pre-parents, in this scenario, they have a desire to not adopt but to create.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, like, those bills are high. Like, it really is not cheap.
Right. But making a comment over whose DNA gets to go swimming versus who doesn't is a dick move. He should have dumped you that night.
Mm-hmm. So definitely the asshole ask gay bros over 30. Like, wow.
Yeah. Matter of fact, question if you should ever go into that direction.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe don't date.
Yeah.
And I really hope you take some parenting classes before you bring out a sentence like that to any future child.
Right.
Like, just that's a lot.
Right.
All right. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole? Are we doing a poll?
Yes, we're going to do a poll for the real Am I the Asshole?
Well, no, I wanted to see if we were doing one for the Ask Gay Bros over 30.
Nah.
Okay. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for giving my husband a $100 spending limit at the strip club? My husband, 36, and I, 33, have been married for almost 13 years. The meat and potatoes of this post is that my daughter and I are going out of state for a weekend to see my family. My husband can't go because he's already taking a large time off in a couple of months to go on a hunting trip. He forgot that we were going on this trip, even though we had discussed getting plane tickets and everything 2 weeks prior, and joked that he would have his side pieces come over. I laughed and said, "Oh, you mean PUBG?" We both LOL. This entire conversation is via text, and he said that if there's not a lot of people online, then he would just go to a bar or the strip. I gave him a budget of $100 because the last time he went to the strip club about a year ago, he spent $300 without talking to me about it. He was also there for about 6 hours, and when he got home, refused to have intimacy because, and I quote, "a man can only have an erection for so long." We had a pretty large argument about the whole situation, and I thought ultimately resolved it. Cut to prison situation. He tries to negotiate with me about how much he can spend at the strip club. I told him that 2 beers and 2 lap dances is a pretty good concession, considering most women don't even let their husbands go to strip clubs. He responded with, "Who doesn't like seeing sexy people?" and said that he thought the last fight we had on it wasn't that large. It has now devolved into a fight about how he doesn't compliment me and he doesn't care about my feelings of him going and leering at naked women and paying them to grind on him. For him to go when I'm not here so he can spare my feelings of turning me down for sex because he's had an erection the whole time some random bimbo takes her clothes off, but he can't get it up for his wife who's actively trying to have sex with him. He then responded asking, why do I care how much he spends with the money that he works hard to earn? We both work. We have a joint account. Claims that he doesn't compliment me by telling me, claims that he does compliment me by telling me he's proud of the weight I've lost through the fact that I'm bi-curious at me, which I don't ever want to act on because I'm married to him and he always takes the convo about it too far, talking about how I should make more female friends with the ultimate intent to let him watch. And yes, I've been to the strip club before. I kind of enjoyed it, but ultimately it made me super comfortable. He does say that it's just entertainment to him and it has nothing to do with me, but has said that if I'm going to put these kind of limits on him, he's just not going to go. Sorry if this post is really rambling. I'm still upset and trying to hide from my daughter so she doesn't ask me what's wrong. I just want to know if I'm overreacting or what other people's thoughts are on the whole situation. Any friends that I talk to are going to be biased. Thanks in advance. I feel like something's missing. Like, you're the one that usually goes and looks. Are there additional comments from OP?
Checking.
Okay.
Well, what's your thoughts on the base of it?
On the base of it, I mean, on one hand, I can say that, like, for us, if you went and spent $300 at a strip club, right now, given some things financially, I would probably be mad.
Right.
Like, what the hell? We have bills. Like, you have no business being at a strip club spending $300. We have bills.
Right.
On the other hand, if they're in a position where, like, is he taking money out of paying the utilities? Is he taking money out of the food budget? Or is this money that, like, yeah, you'd like to save it, but your life doesn't depend on it? Like, what else does he do for entertainment? I know he's going on a hunting trip, and I get that, and I know you're pissed about that, and I understand that. But ultimately, how much is he so to speak, throwing around in terms of finances compared to?
Well, I see the problem. Let's address this OP comment. Everything goes into a joint account. We talk generally about any money that is spent because at the moment we are trying to cut credit card debt. Any activities I do, usually with him and our daughter. Recently, I bought yarn on sale for a crochet project that I didn't talk to him about, but it was $50. So far, it's so far as if it were a different activity, it would depend on the activity. If he wanted to go bow fishing, which usually is about 100 to 150, I wouldn't mind that. If he wanted to go to the range, that's fine. If all of our friends got a new video game and wanted to get it, he wanted to get it, and Ultimate Edition was $100, then that would be fine.
All right, then this is coming into I don't like what you want to do with the money.
Right.
Not this is an actual practical concern for our finances.
Exactly.
Like that's kind of how I'm taking it. Is yes, that money spent on credit, pulling down your credit card debt would be a great thing. But it sounds like you're already prepared if he spends the time you're on this trip, this whole weekend, if he were to go spend $300 any other way on pizza and beer and bow fishing and all these other things that whatever, you would be it. Okay, whatever, I don't care. But it's the one item. He wants to go do a thing that you don't want him doing.
Exactly.
That's where I have to say I think you're the asshole.
Well, I think she's the asshole. I also think that she's the asshole because she's not considering for many factors here.
Okay.
That doesn't apply to our life. So I'm gonna have to go from that factor because for us, I go to a club, I'm spending $200. It's a guaranteed. That's what I'm spending at any club I go to, especially if there's a show bar, meaning drag queens or strip dudes, definitely there. But I know that for me to walk into a club, I got to have $200 in my pocket, or I'm not going. Because I know what that night cost me.
That's why I'm sitting here having the moment of like, where are they financially with it?
Right.
Like, I could totally understand if like the car's up for repossession, the fucking utilities are about to get cut off, and you don't know how you're buying groceries, and you're not sure if you got money for gas to take this weekend trip out of state, yada, 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 yada.
Yeah.
Okay, then no, what the fuck are you doing going to a strip club, dude?
Right. But on the other side of that, I'm looking at all the other inluding comments. She's not comfortable because he went to a strip club and spent about $50 an hour.
Okay. Well, 6 hours, yeah. Which is a long time to be there. And it sounds like there's some relationship issues, and he could definitely use some help on what a compliment is.
Well, I think that she could use some compliments and understanding of what she walked into. What is his lifestyle? Yeah. That should have been negotiated in there and should have been looked at way before now.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, you already knew he was doing this. You already knew, like before y'all got together.
Right.
Or at least since you've been together, like you've known what he was doing, where he was going, etc.
Right.
I really struggle with this since there's no other reason to see it as anything other than like you're taking out a relationship issue on his entertainment,
right,
and trying to set limits on it to the point that he doesn't go do it for no other reason than to punish him for the things that he said. And you're somehow expecting him to put this all together and fix your relationship issue.
Right.
For what? So that he gets permission to go to the strip club? Like, that's how you want to work your relationship. Like, that's how you want him to compliment you properly. Is so that you'll mommy may I for him to go to the strip club and spend whatever he wants.
Right.
Like, think it through. This isn't going to work out the way you want it to work out. Like, you think, being complimented for losing weight sucks.
Right.
It does. It's not a compliment.
Right.
Like, that's just a statement of a fact, and it's not a compliment.
Right.
But you think that sucks now.
Right.
Wait till the only reason that he's saying any compliment, no matter how great they are, is so that he can go to the strip club.
Right. And that's more my issue there, is you're setting up double standards. And what's this weekend trip that you're taking costing?
I really don't, like, I don't even care about that part. It sounds like it was already planned. He knew they were going. It costs what it costs.
Right.
I mean, like, there's plane tickets involved. I'm assuming it's not. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's plane tickets involved. Like, yeah. I mean, it already sounds like they're probably spending at least $300. I mean, unless they're hopping on Spirit Airlines for $99 a ticket and, like, gonna eat ramen noodles, I can't see how the strip's gonna cost less than $300.
Right, even though they're going to see family.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then what's the split in income? Everything goes into the account jointly. Jointly is the name on the account. Who makes the deposits?
Well, granted, she says they both work. I try to hesitate on the whole getting into, well, he makes 60% of the income and she makes 40% of the income, so he gets control. That's not really it.
Not control, but, asset management.
Yeah.
Okay. The other, meaning that if this is something he can afford on his own income, once his bills are covered, then he go do it. The other part of that is it just annoys me when we start limiting people's activity that they enjoy, but we don't. Example, you really do not care to go to a drag show.
I do not. I don't even really care that much for strippers or bars.
Right. I, on the other hand, I am an old-time club kid. When we go about once a year. It's my time. I make sure that the weekend I go, the night I go, is the most packed night I can get into it. So we get there about, say, 10. We leave by like 4. But that's my night. That's for myself. That's my spending. And I already have it planned out exactly how much we're going to do it.
And knows better than to ask me the question, are you having fun? No, I'm not.
I never asked you.
I'm here. I'm supportive. I'm not a jackass. Am I having fun, though, is the worst question to ask me, because it's like, honestly, a little bit like watching paint dry.
Right. For me, if it's like, I tend to go on a pageant night or a big night, so I'm having a great time. You're at least having a decent time. But it's like, it's my one night a year that I go and just boss the ball off.
Like, the point I'm trying to make is I'm fine with it.
Right.
I'm fine with it. I have no problem with this.
Yeah.
But left to my own devices, like he gets hit by a bus tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
And I don't, get into another relationship with someone else that enjoys going to bars and strip clubs and the things. I will never on my own just be like, you know what I want to do?
All right.
Never once will I ever.
Right.
And this has happened in multiple relationships. You're not the first one.
Exactly. But we have those different interests, and those different interests are perfectly fine to have. I enjoy hiking and swimming and, drop me off in the woods for 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. He, not so much.
No. I'm sorry. It's rustic if the air conditioner doesn't work.
Right.
Like, that's as rustic as I get.
Right.
Like, sorry, I have no interest whatsoever in sleeping on rocks under nylon.
Well,
None.
I don't sleep on rocks. I sleep on an air mattress. And normally I take the top off, so it's not under nylon and it's under netting. But again, these are activities I enjoy. I don't force you to go on with them.
No. But this is what I'm saying. It is that, like, I understand he enjoys these things. I will be as supportive as I can be on them. Like I will gladly help you set aside time and resources and help out any way I can for you to go enjoy the things you enjoy doing.
Right.
And go, enjoy, have fun. It'll be great. But as for am I going to sit here and be like, well, you can't spend money on that because I don't like it.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
You can't spend money on this. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Or you can't spend money on that because I'm still hurt about the thing that you said to me the last time you went.
Uh-huh.
And so instead of actually dealing with the problem of the thing that you said, I'm going to put a limit on your spending for this time to the point that you're going to effectively not going to want to go.
Right.
And then we're both miserable.
Right.
And it's like, oh, for the love of God, who has time for this scorekeeping?
Well, not only that, but who has time for this bullshit of keeping score on who tied who?
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
Right. And
go to the strip club, spend your $300 or your $400 or whatever you have fun doing.
Right.
That you can reasonably afford. You know what I mean? Like, don't break the bank. Don't max out a credit card.
Right.
Be reasonable. Have a good time and enjoy.
Exactly. And furthermore, dude, your line sucks and bullshit. That's all I have to say on the matter. We have to keep it PG.
No, husband of OP has work to be done.
Yes.
In terms of being a husband, he's kind of a jackass in general.
Right.
But a lot are. He doesn't sound like a bad guy. He just sounds like he could get much better.
Right. All right.
Little spit and polish.
I prefer, a little bit, razor knife and trimming, but we'll get there. All right. So let's hop over and check out poly advice.
All right. So how to date and flirt as a poly-partnered person. Am I the only one that wants to take that particular phrase and just call them poly pockets?
Okay.
All right. Anyway, hi all. I'm wondering if anyone has any advice, thoughts, anecdotes on how they approach dating or flirting while they themselves are in a poly dynamic. I'm 37, non-binary, by AMAB. What the hell is AMAB?
Give me a minute.
Oh, assigned male at birth.
Yeah.
But undoubtedly mask presenting. The two partners of 6+ years each, with two partners of 6+ years each. I haven't done much dating in the last several years, but when I did, I relied mainly on apps since they allowed for transparency on the above. For whatever reason, I'm finding that apps no longer connect me with anyone I'm interested in. So I've been thinking more about how to go about making connections with people in other spaces. I'm not very intimidated by the actual act of asking people out, but I have some anxiety around the idea of not disclosing my partnerships to someone ahead of that sort of interaction. How does one navigate knowing that monogamy is most people's default? Any conversations that I imagine around this topic with someone feels clumsy and uncomfortable. Do you ask someone out and then follow up with a poly caveat if they're interested? Do you try to ascertain someone's own dating style in advance? How do you do that gracefully? Sometimes in regular conversation, I'll try to layer in a remark about my partners to people and gauge the reaction, but that tells me very little. I should note that I'm basically the opposite of demisexual. I know almost immediately if I'm attracted to and interested in someone based off brief interactions and behavior. So in many scenarios where this would come up, we may not know much about one another. I've asked monogamous friends this question, and some have admitted they would be genuinely put off by or off-put by a partnered person approaching them. I realize that's their hang-up and not mine, but nonetheless, I'm interested in how other poly people think about the approach this in physical spaces.
Well, first of all, be yourself. Flirt the fuck out of everybody. Point blank. Secondly, make it obvious and clear. Thirdly, chill.
I think it really comes down to it's only clumsy and uncomfortable if you think it's clumsy and uncomfortable.
Right.
Like you're creating your own problem. Like, argumentatively, yeah, it's clumsy and uncomfortable because the standard assumption is that you're going to be monogamous too. Because isn't that the deal that we all agreed to? No, it isn't. And then there's like the secondary fear that people have that you're going to somehow offend someone who is monogamous by presenting them with yourself who is not.
Right.
And I've never quite followed that.
Well, I've never quite followed that. I also never treat poly as anything special. I've made comments about, yeah, my old man's over there somewhere. And people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, he's over there doing something, who knows? And moved on with the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Like, it generally, I think there's a lot of people that are challenged by it when they first encounter someone who's poly. And I don't think you have necessarily, I don't think you have a right to get offended over it. We're all in this world together. We're making choices. If you are dead set on monogamy, I'm poly, that's not going to work. We go about our separate ways. I'm all into consenting adults.
Right.
And if you're not consenting, I'm not a rapist.
Right.
I don't know what it is that makes people have this weird association idea that the poly people are going to stuff you in a trunk and you're going to wake up chained to a bed. Like, that's not how it works.
No, wrong demographic.
Yeah, you're confusing.
Right. The other thing is, you'll be surprised. Like, I don't know. Most of the people I deal with quickly go, oh, okay, so he doesn't care. I'm like, no, they don't care. And they go, they, and I'm like, yeah, there's another one.
There's more than one.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, so is it okay if I pick you up? I'm like, yeah, preferably. See you at 7.
Yeah. Like, take my husband, please. You'll bring him back.
Yeah. He has a schedule. He has a planned schedule that operates on time. You'll bring him back. Promise you.
More importantly, I've been with him for this long. I can assure you, you will bring him back.
Uh-huh.
You will bring him back. Like, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Which is my ongoing joke about it. And that tends to also put people at ease. They tend to laugh at that one and get that, like, no, I'm totally cool with this.
Well,
like, I know what's going on. I don't have a mental defect or deficit. I'm aware. I'm also a consenting adult in the situation. And I can be funny about it.
Well, what I find hilarious is some of my opportunities will message going, is Joe going to be home? Yeah. Can he make coffee? Okay. Hey, Joe, can you put on a pot of coffee before you go to bed? I've got a date showing up at 2 a.m.
Okay.
Okay.
Or make your own damn coffee. It's not going to make me mad at them.
I know, but those are the comments I get. And then we read Reddits like this, and I'm like, what are y'all doing out there that is wrong?
I think it's a lot of anxiety that, like, the monogamy police will descend upon you.
Great. Maybe they can bring popsicles, and we will have a discussion how their ethics are crazy. But anyway.
And the reality is, like, typically if that occurs, if you stumble blindly into someone that is going to be so against your relationship setup that they are going to lose their shit, I much prefer finding that out in the beginning.
Yes.
Than a couple of dates in.
Right.
Or backing them into the corner of you already agreed to go on the date. Now, let me give you the shit sandwich.
Right.
But we don't agree or mesh on our dating styles.
Right.
Or our relationship styles.
Right. Instantly, you can tell that. I'm sorry. Instantly, I can tell, like, nope, not interested. Nope, not interested in you either.
I mean, for most people, and there's a lot of asterisks after this. But for most people, typically, attraction is this weird thing. In which by being attracted to someone, you most likely already know enough about them,
right,
to in turn have the intuition and like pre-awareness that they're most likely, percentages wise,
right,
most likely in a similar boat as you. Like there's this whole science about the people that we find attractive and the likelihood that they ultimately have values in agreement, that they have similar ideas, that they have similar, opposites. That fundamentally, that if you're attracted to someone, you already have a higher chance of having things in common, like being polyamorous or being accepting of polyamorous relationships,
right,
than any other random person on the street, percentages wise. Well, it doesn't mean everyone,
right,
but more than likely.
And what I don't get overall is why go through this, as far as why are you not going to spaces that are comfortable? Why are you not going to, or going, having poly picnics, building your own community, investing in your own community, even jump onto the kink side, because they're a lot more comfortable, even though you may not be kink. They're going to have a larger dynamic there that may not be kink or maybe flavored kink. Like, you're not taking advantages of opportunities. And it kind of sounds to me like you may not be looking for another long-term partner. You may be looking for a short-term thing. And a lot of people don't care about short-term things.
Well, yeah, that's an additional part of it.
Yeah.
But no, go ahead, take the risk, put it out there. You should be fine for the majority. You may just occasionally run into the person that you share the same ideas about parenting. Unfortunately, not the same ideas on poly relationships.
Right.
Like, there is this kind of mirroring that we do, and that we have a generally good gut instinct on whether someone will or will not say yes.
Right.
Like, before we even ask. Like, it's a whole part of the brain that picks up on cues, and we call that attraction.
Right.
Like, we inherently know, again, there's some asterisks after this. Now, there are some people who are neurodivergent that in general have issue reading social cues and having social awareness. That's not going to have the same traction.
No.
Like, that's sometimes part of the whole problem.
Right.
Is that dating is someone without the ability to read social cues, read social interactions, or typically phrasing that I don't like is competently navigate those situations. Successfully, let's call it that. Successfully navigate those situations. Typically that has to do with, as part of the divergency,
right,
that's already a thing they struggle with. And of course it also influences their ability to date, as well as any other social interaction they would have.
Right. All right. So we got to wrap this up because we are behind schedule, and that's okay. However, I have to say this, darling. Get the vinegar. You're a dill pickle.
It's a dill pickle?
Yes.
Oh, come on, guys. What are y'all doing over there?
Making pickles.
Like, did Earl have to die? Or are we opening a roadside stand? What the hell? Y'all been voting some vinegar left, right, and center.
I know. It's enjoyable as hell to watch it. All right. And that's why I try to find ones that are like, ooh, you got to think and take this apart. And that's the dill pickle.
It is. It is. All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Maria Meyer. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcsbnetwork.com.
Yes, and we will see you Sunday at 5 p.m., y'all. Bye, y'all.
Bye.